Let's talk about match the hatch. We all know what that means, but what happens when you get out on the water and the hatch has all different sizes? Well, what do you do from there? We're going to talk a couple of different options in this video. Check it out. Hey there, Salt Strong family. This is Pat Ogletree, and I hope this finds you all happy, healthy, and safe. In this video, like I said in the introduction, we're going to talk about how to match the hatch. More specifically, what to do when we get out there and the hatch is all over the place of different sizes. This past weekend, I was faced with a situation where I got to the spot and I noticed there was bait fish everywhere, which is absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what you wanted to see. But the problem was they were all different sizes. There was everything from little glass minnows to fingerling mullet to 8 to 10 inch mullet to those big old giant hogleg mullet. So what do you do in that situation? Well, we're going to talk about two different things that you can do. Number one, the first thing that I like to do is check out the whole situation. Be observant on the water and see what the fish are trying to tell you. This particular morning, I noticed that the fish, the predator fish, were actually grouped up exactly in the type of bait fish that they normally like to go after. So for instance, the juvenile tarpon, there was some legit juvenile tarpons out there. I mean, you could almost not even call them juvenile anymore, but they were out there crashing the schools of glass minnows, and that's a typical target for those fish. And then those little fingerling mullet, that was your mid-sized trout, your mid-sized redfish, and then those big 8 to 10 inch mullet, that was being crashed by big giant trout. There was some really big trout out there chasing those fish. So what you could do in that situation is you can break it out to figure out what targeted species you want to go after and then follow that particular size of bait, and you'll be able to target specific species. I started in the morning doing exactly that. I decided to go after the large trout that was chasing those big 8 to 10 inch mullet, and I was able to hook up with one. I lost it right at the boat, but I want you to check out the video. This was a pretty big trout. Check it out. I think this might be a snook. Ah, that was a big trout. Dang. Oh well. So that's what happens when you're a little hot-handed on a fish that isn't hooked very well. A lot of things I should have done to get that fish landed, but you live and you learn, right? So we talked about two different things that you could have done. What I decided to do after I lost that trout was go after the slam. Typically when I'm out on the kayak, what I like to fish for is I'm fishing for that redfish, that snook, and that trout to complete the slam. What I decided to do was pick a baitfish profile. I'm not worried about color yet, worried about profile that mimics the median size of those baitfish. So like I said, the tarpon were going after the small glass minnows, and the big fish were going after the big mullet. So I picked a 4-inch diesel minnow and a slam shady, and that's what I started the day with. Now I started throwing that quite a bit. I wasn't getting any action, so I changed down to a smaller, the slam shady 2.0, which is about a 3.5 inch profile. Still wasn't getting any action on that, so I moved up to the bomber to see if they wanted that profile. Still nothing. So what I decided to do from that was I went to the Gulp Jerk Shad. The reason why I decided to go with that is I thought the size was the correct size still, that 5-inch, because that was about the average size of the bait fish that I was seeing out there. But that was the ticket because they just wanted that action. So the size was correct. The action was what was different between the paddle tail and the jerkbait. Once I started throwing that, then we started getting some action. Wind up with a couple of snook, got a couple of redfish. I did have the trout on to complete the slam, but I wind up losing that in some bushes. I want you to check out some video of that. Little guy here. Need a little bit stronger. I always try to go underneath the kayak. I think you've had enough. Oh, he is pretty. Got the 3 spots on the tail. Look at that blue tail. That orange. I love them when they like that. That is nice. A little small though. Let's go back and grow up. So in conclusion, when you're out there and you're faced with the same situation, you should figure out what the goal is. What species do you want to go after? Do you want to catch the most species of fish, or do you want to catch a specific one? If you want to go after that trout, then throw the bigger lures. If you want to go after the tarpon, then throw the smaller lures. If you wanted to go after as many species as possible, then throw the medium size. I hope this helps you out for next time. And as always, please pick up after yourself. And if you have to, please pick up after others. We really need to take care of our waterways out there. And until next time, I appreciate you watching. Thanks. Bye.